reads it.
Yes. The story I always liked about that was one, I think it was Janetta that used to say, she was in an argument with her mother over something about finances because she'd given them information, and her mother, even though she knew her daughter had provided, her daughter was telling, no, I gave them the right numbers and that was wrong, but it was in the paper. It was in the paper.
Okay, thank you. We are live, commissioners.
Okay, good morning. Welcome to the Board of County Commissioners meeting, March 16th. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, is there any public comment?
One at a time, please.
Seeing none, we'll go to commission comments. Commissioner McKinley.
All right. Well, Monday afternoon, the building committee met with RCPD reps to discuss the IT needs on the public safety building, getting everything coordinated with what they need, not what they want. Tuesday was the first meeting of the year for the Flint Hills Veterans Coalitions. New officers were selected. And a couple of very active members have had to step back, and so others they rearranged duties for people to go in from. And also this year, Veterans Day is on a Saturday, so they're going to move the parade to a Friday, which I think most people probably have that Friday. But also Saturday's a K-State home football game.
Oh,
That's
Lots
of planning for it, but yeah, not that would not work. Then Tuesday evening, I attended Raleigh City Council. Had updated what we're doing. Then they had some questions about the interlocal agreement that on the sales tax.
Mhm.
And you know, they were able to answer what they were, and they signed it, or will sign it. That the mayor wasn't there when she was out, and they get back, but they voted to sign the agreement.
Cool.
It was interesting that the attorney was saying, well, now this is a voluntary agreement. They're just agreeing to give, this isn't required by the sales tax. I said, well, we said we would. Yeah, but you're just doing it. Well, yeah.
Kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
It
We
is.
said we would, and we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And
Well, the cover letter might not have made it to them, but I tried to explain some of the background.
you know,
Sometimes
and it might have been, but I just, you know, he just, and nothing detailed, and just wanted to
Sure.
clarify how things would work.
Yeah.
So
Perfectly legit.
it was went fine. And then Wednesday was a juvenile detention facility. That meeting's held in Washington. They move it every quarter. We move it to one of the other counties. And there was an election of officers, which was basically a railroad of the existing officers into serving for another year. And then there's also some discussion continuing about leasing space at the old Saline County Jail for future expansion. Is that Saline just built a new, very large jail, and they've got the old one there. They're looking at the leasing portion of it to expand that program. And that's all I've got. Went to Good Morning Manhattan this morning. The NIL was a good discussion. Had a lot of interest, you know, a lot more information than what you'd hear about. So that was good.
Okay, Commissioner Ford.
Yeah. Monday afternoon, we had our first county officials lunch in quite some time. It's good to get updates from the various departments and their activities, although I was pretty well updated because I've talked to everybody here in the early part of the year, so I didn't really hear anything necessarily new. Yeah, it's good to see what they're working on though here early in 2023 and the challenges they faced. I think we need to spend a little bit more time discussing needs and ideas on the budget back and forth. That may still be a conversation we need to have, but we'll have plenty of time throughout the rest early part of this year to do that, so it's not a big deal. Monday afternoon, I met with MATC President Jim Gannott and Harry Watts in person at the campus. To get an update on where they're at with their 3-phased facility plan. They're struggling too. The costs with logistics, with everything. So it's not just us. It's just not a good time to be building these type of things at the moment. But also discuss funding needs, new programming, and to discuss a potential partnership with Riley County in terms of internships and potential future employment with several of the programs. I think nursing is one that we can latch onto. And we had a discussion about the PRNs and everything. I think there's some legitimacy there while they've got those kids on campus to be able to work something out. And several other programs too, IT related, that could potentially help Corey. Talked about the opened environmental specialist. They trained for bits and pieces of that. I don't know if that's a scenario where you can bring somebody in and kind of mold them maybe. We may have to think outside the box on that one and several other positions moving forward, but there could be a quality resource, and at least having somebody here and being able to at least have somebody work into those potential positions if that's what we decided. But really a lot of conversation on that, and I'm sure we'll get it worked out in due time. Yesterday, I attended I didn't get actually home until 3:30, so I missed the first half of the Rural Economic Development Committee meeting and I checked it out via Zoom because I didn't have time to come all the way back downtown and try to make that. But several items of discussion I missed at the beginning was the Chief Standing Bear project they're working on out of Scenic. Yeah, I wasn't for sure if you were updated on that or not. There's some history with Chief Standing Bear as he kind of traveled through Kansas and I don't know the entire story, but he spent a significant amount of time in the southern part of Riley County, and they want to incorporate something out there at the Scenic Overlook, honoring him and kind of laying out the history and stuff. So kind of couple of different entities, including KDOT, involved in that conversation, but they're working on trying to raise some funds privately to do that. There's a Stand Up for Rural America event. They had some details and some other things. It's supposed to be in Mulvane, April 4th and 5th. If anybody's interested, I can certainly get the link for you on that. They made an appointment of a secretary for the committee. I didn't hear who that was, so you can check with Gary on that. And I'll ask later on that too. I came in as we were talking about the development of a task force to discuss the fairgrounds. Those recommendations should be put together and be coming to us in a car some point in time, and we can figure out how we want to go with that later. There's
So they're taking applications for that or names?
there's a lot of names.
Yeah, I know.
There's a lot of interest. We kind of narrowed it down to, obviously we think that the city, the county, school district, probably the foundation for sure. Maybe somebody representing the Department of Agriculture.
Part of the buildings are talking about using our foundation buildings.
Correct. And who else we may not want. And then we came up with 12 or 14 names, people, and I've had a couple more since last night reach out to me. So there's a lot of interest on it. We can figure out where we want to go with that. But I asked Gary to put all that information together and present it in a car at some point in time before the next meeting, and we can figure that out. Also had a pretty lengthy discussion on property tax evaluations, what it means. You might not think that would be necessarily the committee to do that, but there are rural people with rural homes, with homesteads, and with investment properties, and they're very concerned. So just putting that out there. Attended Gordon Morning in Manhattan this morning myself. Heard from Ryan Harrington from the Wildcats at Name and Image and Likeness. Interesting conversation. I tend to think what I know, not just from this morning, that we're doing it right here, at least while we have our student athletes here. We're not using it as a recruiting or necessarily retention tool, but for the athletes that we have here that are pliable. I don't know. I think he's right. It's here. Maybe it's better to embrace bits and pieces of it instead of just dismissing it completely. It is what it is. So I like the fact that they have a nonprofit arm on that, and they're working with nonprofit organizations in town. I think that's, and in the region, that's good. And so they'll continue to work on that, and see where it goes. So I think the university has a good focus and vision on this to at least do it right. So, and Darren Sullivan also spoke on the Elevate Fund, entrepreneurship fund that they're working through Spark, and just trying to get that going and started. Probably going to take some time, but they're at least getting it out there. And that's all I got.
Okay. Well, Monday, we did have the county officials meeting. I think it was a good update for everybody. You know, went around the room, talked about all the departments. Saying we have we're going to do quarterly meetings is what I'd like to do. So probably May. We want to schedule it for May.
June will be that 3 months.
3 months. Okay. Oh, we started this.
Yeah.
So that's one. Okay.
Catch up.
That is the second quarter. I agree.
Okay. All right.
The rest of it's between you guys.
Schedule. I think everybody there, I've gotten good comments about it, that it was a good meeting. Everybody got a chance to talk. Let's see, Tuesday morning I was on In Focus, the King Man. I invited Anna Burson to come with me and go over the appraisal process, and she did a really good job. Got several comments afterwards, and it was a really good program. So we had a couple phone calls questioning different things. One person was really questioning putting a basement in the public health.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah.
It's kind of rambling.
Yeah, rambling, yeah. And another person, they wouldn't let on the air, so.
I didn't have time to make no phone calls Tuesday morning. I was entrenched in work. I had my sleeves up and I was getting dirty Tuesday morning. And there's actually pictures to prove it too. Thank you very much.
But it was kind of a screen call.
They do.
So we also discussed the Keats program that we had last week, and did a good discussion on that. We also did some talk about the cost of the public health or public safety building, and that kind of thing, and where we're trying to cut costs and see what we can do. And then just several other updates, but that pretty much took care of the entire hour. So the property appraisals are really a good thing. So I've talked to a few people. So I did go to the meeting this morning. Good morning, Manhattan. That was a big meeting, and it seemed like it didn't last as long as they normally do. But Brian did a great job. So I thought he handled questions very well. So other than that, I've been spending a lot of time with my daughter. She was Monday, so that's about it for me.
For the business commissioners.
Mhm.
First item we have is I need a motion to sign appointment letters for Galen Hoffman, Linda Senior, and Josh Winland to the Park Advisory Board and approve the resolution doing so.
This computer just kind of locked up. There it goes. This feels like one of those slow days today, Thursday, right? And
Yeah.
kind of damp and dreary. So I'll go ahead and make a motion to move to sign the appointment letters for Galen Hoffman, Linda Teener, and Josh Woodland to the Parks Advisory Board and approve the resolution number 031623.
I'll second.
So moved and seconded to sign the appointment letters for Galen Hoffman, Linda Teener, and Josh Bruin to the Park Advisory Board, and approve resolution about the representatives. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resign in multiple locations.
We get a significant amount of rain. It didn't seem like it.
Not yet, anyway. I
It's supposed to be off and on all day.
Yeah, I'm
Talking
hoping.
about maybe a quarter at the most. But you never know. We've missed 2 snowmageddons this year too, so.
That means we're due for one. This
Exactly.
better not be the one.
And I was telling the office this morning, it always seems like these ones that are supposed to hit about the time we get off work are the ones that are in hands way more than
Yeah.
what they predicted. I was gonna bring the little car and I thought, I don't know how many times I've done that and then it just get
You just
hammered,
slide
when they were
low.
falling for a little bit, so. Rough truck. Plus 45-mile-an-hour winds about to get little car off the highway.
Yeah, it was pretty
Yeah,
windy
yesterday,
yesterday.
I was
Yeah.
back in Washington, it's bouncing me around pretty good.
Mhm.
I got down there on Eureka Drive, and a couple of those gusts kind of. I had me swaying.
That little Honda goes away enough to stay on the road, weren't they?
Mm.
Next, Commissioner, the motion to approve the tax roll corrections.
Can you tell me what business, that first one, the city of Manhattan to 11th Street, what business is that?
I looked it up.
That's the Midtown project.
Yeah, that next parking garage and
Yeah.
retail
Okay.
space.
I can't find them both of them right now, so.
Okay, is that, so I didn't realize the city of Manhattan owned that.
Well, it's parking lot.
No, it's parking.
Parking lot.
So it went out.
A lot.
Yeah.
My only thought is how does that work with that being in a TIF? Or is this is the reason why?
What do you mean with it being an
It's got a TIF number 6.
Mhm. Even though it's in a TIF, it was still paying taxes. It was just capped. It's tax. It's a
Oh,
valuation, right?
Okay, got
So it
it.
was still
that's-
paying
so it's gonna
taxes. So
pay-
now it won't be paying taxes at all
Okay.
if exempted.
So the Midtown will not be taxed. But it's sold to a taxable entity.
Well, that's what, Anna will have to evaluate. And there's questions, of course, that part of it may be retail down below. So
Correct.
that's why they have to do their investigation on it.
Well, I thought the TIF, they paid them, but it doesn't go up.
Right, it's capped at that
It's capped at
first
this amount.
year, at that first year, it's capped. And the increment in valuation that it would increase goes to pay the TIF
Yeah.
debt down. That's how
But
the TIF
that won't be established until the building's done.
correct.
Right.
Mhm. Correct.
And then
That's how
that
TIFs work.
that increment during that amount of time has to stay within the TIF, but can still be used within the district for other improvements.
Well, it's actually paying the bonds because when they establish a TIF, they're going out for debt. So it's paying that debt back. They're not continuing to make improvements off that TIF. They're paying the bond down. And then, of course, when it's a 10 or 20-year TIF, once it's off, then all of those tax dollars then get to come to the end, like the school district, city, county. That's the supposed value in doing it. You're allowing that improvement and that increment in tax that would go up over those years go to pay that off, but then you get all of that improvement at the end of the TIF to the tax entities.
But that's just on the building itself. What
That's
about the
building
building,
plan
but
and
not the
everything.
business that's inside, right?
No, it's everything.
Everything?
Yeah.
It's everything. That's the same way. All
Is
of
this-
these, all of these tips over here are all private, the one with Hy-Vee and all of those, they're all private.
That one's getting
But
ready
it's
to
just the
come off.
tip, that's the one that's paying for the parking garage, is that what this tip?
Yeah.
is? You would think it.
The parking garage infrastructure and parking garage.
All those other improvements done.
Yep.
Do you think the valuation of that one should help pay it off quicker?
Yeah, for sure. Yep, that's one good thing about valuation going up so high. Is that,
But so it, even though it says it's 10-year, but if it's paid off earlier, if they can pay it off earlier, then. it
right,
comes
it can
off
end the
the
tip,
Okay.
correct. Yep, correct, yeah, it's only going to pay that debt, it's not going to another fund to fund additional improvements, it's just paying off that
Paying
debt.
off the debt.
Yeah, we got to set up the very first tip when I was the accountant in the treasurer's office a few months ago. Like 3 decades ago.
But I guess since these taxes, because that, a lot of these properties just changed ownership at the end of the year, but the taxes are really for. They're coming due in December, they're really for next, for this year, I guess.
Correct.
That's why I was thinking, they were there all year, but that's, these taxes are kind of a year. That's
Yeah,
what,
the first,
so it's based on what they are in December, what the ownership is.
right. First tip was the mall.
Oh,
And then the other two, I guess, are for the Light and Arts Museum.
Correct.
Now, how does that work?
Sears building, it's the old Sears
Yeah.
buildings.
Yeah. And of course, that's in a star bond, right?
Well, I think that's just.
I don't remember if that
I
was
thought they
the-
extended, I thought they were able to extend the
I remember
district.
they were talking about it, I don't remember. if it
Yeah, I
was
don't
finished
either.
before.
As they had the opportunity to do that because it connected to the one that was already there, I thought. And maybe it
Because it was,
doesn't.
yeah, there was talk.
With the Discovery?
That's because that's the deal with it. You can't just create a new one. You've got to create it within the boundaries of one that's already established. That's the new rule of
If
it.
they really tried to make that far reach with the one over on the north side of the campus,
Yeah.
they said, no.
Right.
That's it, yeah.
All kinds of creative ways of financing to accomplish this.
Not take that.
Yeah. Basically. And that's the thing I said yesterday during yesterday's meeting. We have about 8 million different exemptions in the state of Kansas and it's killing us.
And they're looking for more
Yes, I know. Killing us.
when we need to be going the opposite direction.
Right. Yeah, with that said, I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve tax roll corrections.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the tax roll corrections. All in favor?
Uh,
Aye.
Chairman, sign, please. Any topics for intergovernmental commissioners?
This would be a good time to update everybody on legislation.
Yeah, take a run out. Sure.
Okay. You catch that, Rich?
Yeah.
I think many of those probably affect a lot of people in the room there.
Lance, you'll give that.
Sure.
Everyone attending?
Sounds like it.
I was gonna say, guess you're attending, aren't you?
I was at the last
Yeah.
couple, so I expected to.
Yeah, I'll attend.
Catherine?
Yeah.
And Greg, okay, sounds good. Does everyone want a meal?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, please.
I didn't eat last time.
Neither did I, but then again, I wasn't able to come, so.
Yeah.
Okay, good deal. Any changes to the minutes, commissioners?
I didn't have any.
Motion,
Make a motion that we approve the minutes as written from the March 13th meeting of the Riley County Commission.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the March 13th meeting. All in favor?
tentative agendas, commissioners? Any items for next week's press conference? Next, commissioners, we have Mr. Holman at 9:30. Sorry, but I am already hot in here.
Yeah, it's,
Just fine.
By the end of the day, it'll be cold. in here.
It will be, yeah.
Temperatures are start dropping, so.
Yeah, it's gonna get close, so. Supposedly.
kind of nice. I left my windows open last night. And
Yeah, we opened ours
Yeah.
last night.
Well, that's that rural revitals, whatever that thing was yesterday.
Oh, the rural economic.
Rural economic. I was gonna go to that. I sat down last night, I was checking the time, so I thought it was this afternoon. I went back and looked, and oh, never mind.
Yeah, I was gonna go on Zoom, but I didn't get home in time.
I was gonna Zoom. I was checking the time to be sure I knew. In my mind it was today, so.
I left an hour early from work yesterday and I was thinking it was at 3:30 too, and I have another 3:30 meeting at the same time, usually with the MPO, but we didn't have any agenda items really to mess with this month. We will next month, but so must have got mixed up, but I got on there and I was able to at least sit in the conversation I wanted to sit on anyway, so not that the other stuff wasn't important, but
So you're ready for St. Patrick's Day?
Yes, I got my.
yeah, you got the
I
memo?
didn't even
Yeah.
think about it this morning.
I didn't work this morning.
I tossed and
It was going
turned.
Crazy for this morning's meeting, but I brought the other one to switch up.
Toss and turn. It was this one, a K-State tie or Kentucky tie, and I decided not to do the last
St. Patrick's Day.
two for obvious reasons.
I don't know, I think I've worn all the luck out of my shirts, so I don't know what I'm wearing tomorrow.
Just wear something, please.
It'll be cold enough, I'll have to.
I got to thinking maybe instead of staying home and watching the game, maybe I'd go someplace and watch the game.
One
Maybe
thing's
that
for sure,
changes.
you need to watch the game, because you haven't, and that hasn't helped
Right.
us, so just watch the game,
Yeah.
please.
Then I thought, well, I got all new stereo equipment and entertainment stuff, so got to try that out, right? Gotta have an event to try that out. So
Right.
We do it at 9 o'clock or something,
8:40. But it's Friday,
so.
When's he doing?
so
I'm sorry.
Doing the
Get up at
executive session
6
for one
Yes.
at 9:30?
Yeah.
For the whole time?
Yep, 20 minutes.
So it's West Virginia's one of the first one, they're
Mhm.
o'clock today.
yeah.
You can just keep that motion for the second.
Got their brackets filled out.
Took 5 minutes to do it.
Yeah, that's right. I did two of them, actually. There's one of them I went through and put all Big 12 Final Four.
Yeah, mine worked out all Big 12. I said, well, everyone's bragging, we're the conference. Well, we're gonna see if we're gonna prove
Well,
it.
then another one I kind of went a little different.
Yeah,
That's
said, well-
that's Baylor, Texas and KU.
we're gonna see if we're gonna prove it, so.
A
Not
path
like
in-
I got a lot riding on it, so.
Yeah.
The path in the East isn't going to be easy unless some other teams help us out, but a lot of people are high on Duke for some reason.
Name,
Just remember that the Kyle Filipowski is a shirt tail relative of mine.
Oh, really?
My stepfather's father's brother. So he's like a grand whatever twice removed. So they're paying real attention to Duke games.
Yeah.
And he's got a twin brother who's, I think, does not play basketball. That's the only connection I've ever had to him. And again, shirt tail love to a professional athlete.
My connection was Wayne Simmons at KU.
Was it?
He used to play basketball in our backyard. He
That
lived a
works.
block away and was friends with my daughters.
It's even better.
Yeah.
It's actually closer than what I'm saying. And mine's genetic. Actually, to a point it is. It's to another family.
Oh, who's the singer? Came from Leavenworth.
Etheridge,
Yes,
most of Etheridge.
my aunt was friends with her in high school.
Oh. And he's, it's plumber, but he had been her audio.
sound good.
Sound guy for road stuff when she was first getting started, he did a lot of that.
Kind of connections are interesting.
Mhm. Yeah, it's went and I think graduated high school together. And then we were fine. Okay,
Just the executive session.
especially executive session. Okay. Move the county commission, including Chairwoman Foki, Vice Chairman Ford, and Commissioner McKinley. Recess into executive session on potential litigation for the purpose of consultation with Clancy Holman, Riley County Counselor, attorney for the commission, which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship, an exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act, and the open meeting to resume in the county commission chamber at 9:50 a.m.
I'll second.
Okay, it's moved and been moved and seconded to adjourn or to recess into executive session until 9:50. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The other.
Yeah.
We're back.
Just drop back. Yep.
Okay, thank you. You are live.
Go ahead and move that the Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded that the board come out of executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Also move that the record reflect action shall be taken consistent with the consensus reached in executive session.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded that action will be taken according to consensus reached during the executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, let's do the government mail.
It's a bit open.
Opening. They're new to serve the next time. They save everything. Okay, this bid for asphalt overlay quantities is from Dolan Construction. 9620 East Highway 24, Manhattan. For a total amount, let's see, what we got. For View Drive, Lakeside Drive, Mountain Ridge Road, North Marlette Avenue, Gardner Road, Line Road, Waseda Road, and LKW Road, approximately 6.4 miles. We've got 8,565 tons, is that correct?
Yeah.
I guess that's, yeah, we're at $116.50 a ton. That's for commercial overlay. That's $997,822.50. And then we have a commercial pavement patching set price of $170. For a total of $997, $992.50. Proposed start date August 15th for 25 working days.
This is the shilling. Bid bonds in place. Addendum. There's the alternate one. Alternate ones, well, okay.
Okay, there is an alternate. I didn't see it.
Well, I see, yeah, listen. Alternate one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes, alternate one was for all of the roads included, which was 11,170 tons. For a total bid of 1,280,252. Alternate two,
Can you say that one more time? I'm sorry. That
Yeah,
totally
sure.
not.
1,280,252.
So the first one that Captain read was alternate
Right.
two.
Alternate,
well, that's-
yeah.
Well, it's something we kind of need to clear up.
Right, that's why I was going through to put it. Then alternate number two, which deletes some of the roads. It was for 8,565 tons. And the total bid is $997,992.50.
I'm sorry. I just-
Start date of August 15th and 25 working days.
So it looks like the difference between alternate one and alternate two goes from 8.3 miles to 6.4.
To 6.4, yeah, unproduced tonnage.
Okay. It was confusing.
If they're no further questions, then I will go ahead and make a motion that we recommend sending both alternative bids back to staff for further analysis and final recommendation.
No, second.
It's been moved and seconded to send the bid for asphalt overlay back to staff for consideration. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You next, commissioners, Gary Fight, 10 o'clock. Thank you much. Have a good one.
Yeah, you know, I missed that.
Landscape.
If it was 2 pages, it would work.
It's like,
I'm disappointed I didn't. You can't get away with that if you're named Clancy.
yeah, no
I
kidding.
mean, plus my wife is 100% Irish. So.
You know,
What, Monday, we'll expect you to come in with green hair.
Could happen.
no dog.
There's not much territory to work with, so I could do it.
Might be McKinley, but actually I'm Scottish. Not Irish.
I put Jameson's in some coffee one time, just back down.
Yeah,
Same thing.
I don't have a drop of Irish blood in my veins, but
Everybody is on the same thing.
everybody is in St. Patrick's Day, that's right.
There's some great.
Kinley's is even kind of sparkly, that's
Yeah, I got
really impressive.
Yeah, I wondered if maybe it was one of those that lit up or something.
No, that's not that.
I didn't
Actually,
see
it's
you
one of
doing that.
these.
That's what I thought,
Oh, it's.
because it's not meant to, yeah.
Those are the best kind.
We were going someplace. There was a rack of them hanging on, like, there we go. With the St. Patrick's Day decoration. It's like, okay.
It's a good idea.
But mine's real.
Yeah.
It was tied by yours truly twice this morning. It's a little longer than most of my ties, so it throws me off on my.
Oh, yeah.
I rarely get the length right the first time I tie anything. And I've given up on bow ties since Craig was wearing one. I bought one. I thought, well, I can learn how to do this. I found out, no, I can't.
No, really, that's what I've been tempted.
I did the same thing, and I said, I'm gonna buy the pre-made ones and just hook it on.
Yeah.
It takes a long time to learn how to tie them. Craig, it said how long it took him to really learn, and it was quite a while. I'll pass.
Yeah. The diagram looked so simple.
Thanks, this Tuesday, the hearing and then sales tax. Or no, that was Monday.
I'm trying to remember.
T48.
I think it was Monday.
Did you hear anything?
I haven't. I mean, maybe I've gotten something. I just haven't seen an email yet. It's possible.
How they thought it went.
I'll check.
Greg, you want to take us tomorrow? Saturday? Yesterday. Yesterday.
Why is it time?
It's nice.
You know?
Yeah.
St. Patrick's Day.
I thought it was-
Jump on it.
No, St. Patrick's Day, it's supposed to plant
Oh.
potatoes. and Peas, I don't think potatoes, but.
I'm waiting for
peas.
next week.
It's too wet out now.
Got them cut and healed.
It just says it was had a hearing on Monday at 3:30. That's all it says. Kansas legislature.org. Of course, they may not have updated it yet too. I don't know.
Commissioners.
Good morning, commissioners. I know that you often get tired of listening to me talk, so I always invite my colleagues to come and give a presentation, so you get a little bit of variety. So I asked Greg Eiston, and actually, I think he was scheduled in February, and then that happened to be Martin Luther King Day, or I'm sorry, President's Day. So he was not able to, or he did not have a meeting that day. So we just rescheduled him for today, and I hope you'll enjoy his presentation. Greg works extra hard as our county horticulture agent, does a fantastic job, and I'm very proud of him and pleased to work with him. So Greg, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Gary. Well, I want to talk all things master gardeners, if you don't mind. This is our 34th year. So the Master Gardener program is a little history lesson. Began in Washington State in 1972. And there's some staff out there, agents that were needing more resources to help with the answering questions and stuff. And so they developed this volunteer program to assist the extension program in carrying out its mission of providing information to the communities. Started in Johnson County in 1980, as far as Kansas is concerned, and in the fall of 1988, it was started here by Dr. Jim Lindquist. My dad and my uncle were in that first class, along with 8 or so others. 90s were Alan Ladd's years of keeping the program going, and I guess they started in the fall of 1999 and have been hopefully carrying out the mission ever since. So you do have a using the mouse. All right, thank you. You do have kind of the year-end results, if you would. We trained 11 new master gardeners last fall, and they get 48 hours of enrichment, excuse me, on different topics of gardening, and then are able to provide that information along with additional resources to our community. We do have an ongoing membership of 49 that participated last year. Their requirements are 10 hours of community outreach per season and 10 hours of continuing education. Many of them go far beyond that, and some fill out their 10 hours and quit filling out hours, but they continue to volunteer. So you see that advanced training hours was 326 this past year. Community outreach was 1,210 hours, and we reached 5,069 contacts. We hope they're mostly Raleigh County residents, but we don't actually ask where they live. But that's our goal and mission. And so you can put different figures. There's different volunteer hour numbers out there. This one just, we use $28.54. So if you're looking at a return of our investment, $34,533.40 to community. So I mentioned they fill out an online program on their volunteer efforts. And so this is a bar graph from basically when we started the online system. And you see we're doing really good up till 2019 or so. And so now we're back trying to rebuild some of that. So our 2022 bar is obviously not as big as we have been, but it is increasing again. So that's good for everybody. And just a few of the activities that the Master Gardeners do, a few pictures, parade, Earth Day at the zoo, do a bioplastics thing with Brandy and a lot of farmers market outreach, just a few of the things that we've done. This fall, we will have a new class, and I've got it scheduled. It'll be on Friday, starting September 1. And just got Drew Ricketts, who's our wildlife specialist, confirmed. And so the schedule is set. I'll get that updated and put that up on our website. So the application is out there on our website, that being riley.ksu.edu. Left side, go to Master Gardener, and the application and schedule will be up very soon. So look for 10, 12, 15 to participate each fall. That's kind of our average is 11. And we really like to have Riley County residents, but we have allowed when time or spaces available to, we've had someone from Gary County, we have one from Morris County, and one from Chase County one year. They do their training here and their volunteer efforts here. They may do something in their own community, but as far as that 40 hours to be recognized as Riley County Master Gardeners, they provide that resource of community outreach here. Potawatomi County, we get quite a few spillover. Although they have a small group of their own now. We still do, well, we've gone back to in-person trainings. There was one year it was only online available, and there's still the statewide online version. We opt to do in-person because that's what our clientele prefer. And it's a little faster because we do a morning and an afternoon session, so we can be done in 8 weeks, whereas the online is just in the afternoon for 16 weeks. So that's a preferred way of doing it, although if somebody really could only do it online, that option is available. I had a few extra I got some more of these for you guys to have. We have the International Master Gardener Conference coming up. Kansas is hosting this year. It's offered every other year. And Kansas, Johnson County in particular, have been trying to win the bid to have it. And this summer will be the time. And it will be June 18th to the 22nd in Overland Park Convention Center. And what's some statistics here that Dennis Patton is our horticulture agent there in Johnson County. Runs the Master Gardener programs, been there a long time. Their goal is to have 1,000 Master Gardener people sign up, and he's reached that. There's 1,100 signed up from 42 states, the District of Columbia, 6 from 2 Canadian provinces, and we have 2 from England. It is the International Master Gardener Conference. Obviously, not all countries participate. I think those plus, I know South Korea happens to have a program. We had a visiting professor in the horticulture department here at K-State, and he participated in our program. Didn't really communicate with him very well. Didn't know really what he was doing, but he wanted all the PowerPoints to our presentations, which we gave, and he went back to South Korea and started the program. So it's pretty neat. So other things, so we do a search of excellence at these. So there's 7 categories. Dennis said Kansas has a national winner in the search for excellence. We had one last time they did it. And that was in Hutchinson. They have a program there where they work with inmates and gardening and selling their produce and things like that. So don't know who our winner is for this time, but that's pretty exciting. There is a trade show. There's 70 vendors set up. What else? Of the 1,100, 500 are Kansas people. So we have 600 or so from other places coming. And there are some day trips and other activities, pre-conference, if you will. And we do have a group coming to Manhattan, a bus load. And so they will visit the KSU Gardens, some things on campus, go to the Flint Hills Discovery Center, out to the Kanza to see the bison, and then to the Lazy T Ranch. Chris Wilson's the Master Gardener, and they'll have their supper there and get back to the Kansas City area. So we do have a delegation coming. Hopefully they're from all over the world, and we'll see a little bit of the Flint Hills. That was the goal. There's some other tours going to Wichita and other things. So, I don't know if I have anything else really other than encourage everyone who's interested and can participate in our training this fall.
And if you have any kind of gardening questions or questions on the Master Gardener program, that takes about 40% of my time. Managing Master Gardeners and setting that up. Otherwise, we're dealing with community activities and events. So they really help us out. You see them everywhere that I'm kind of there. They're kind of my right hand, if you will. Sometimes they're my whole hands. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you,
Thank
Greg.
you.
Thanks, Greg. Yeah, Brian P. 10:15.
Commissioners, I wanted to ask you something about an upcoming legislative, you'd asked some time ago, we had our annual legislative conference, you wanted to do a follow-up virtual conference with our delegation. I talked with our contract lobbyist and he suggested a couple dates. The concept here would be virtual only, if you want to do it. And you can choose either an hour or about an hour and a half, depending, and I've checked with Cindy Kay on some times available during the mornings of 4 different dates, the 10th, the 13th, the 17th, and the 20th of April. So that's the first one. The 10th is the day after Easter. And then the other dates are regular meeting days. And of course, the 10th is too. But if one, first of all, I want to see if you don't want, there's no requirement you have this, but this would be during this would be during the time talking with our contract lobbyist. I always ask them, what's the best way to do this? Now, this would be after their first adjournment and before they come back. And those dates aren't so close. The last one is far enough away from when they're going to be getting ready to go right back in the following week. So he thought the following Monday after the 20th was too close to that. So we've got some variety here. If you want to have such a thing, if you do, and if you have a date or 2 times you can give me that you would be available on those days.
Won't be here the 20th. That's what I was gonna mention. Can't be the 20th. And the 24th, I will not be here. And I will not be available. I assume I'll be sitting in the airport in the morning about those days.
Well,
Come on, do it off your phone, walk around.
that leaves us,
Show pictures of the new airport.
Yeah.
that leaves us
Won't be
unless you,
available April 10th.
okay, so that leaves us with the 13th and the 17th. If you want to do it,
Well, I think it's worth it. Wow.
Yeah,
you have a preference as to whether it's an hour may be enough during the meeting, or we could do that. We're going to have to keep them from making speeches and give an update.
One of them we had.
Well, if I have the board's permission, I will do my best to be diplomatic, but if we need to tell someone, interesting though this is, we really need to got some questions and we want to hear from you. What do we need to be watching for? That's coming at us potentially. And I get when you go back in. So,
actually, I won't be the 13th. I'm okay on the 10th.
okay. So we have the 10th and the 17th then.
Yeah.
Both of them Mondays, obviously. Do you have a preference or can you deal with both those on the regular agenda? And do you prefer an hour and a half? What do you prefer? Close to an hour and a half if I've got it.
It would be what, noon to something.
No.
No, it couldn't be on the 17th
No, my
because that's the law
concept,
board.
my concept is getting it done during the meeting.
Yeah.
During the regular meeting,
Yeah.
before noon or at noon. potentially.
Um,
And I think on the one where the law board is, I think when I talked to Cindy Kay, she was aware that was law board.
Yeah.
Because I remember one, she said, well, they need to get out of here by 11:30 so they can get to law board. So,
we've been having some challenges with those 12 o'clock meetings trying to get.
and we won't schedule, I won't pick a time. I won't offer them a time that doesn't get you out of here by 11:30 on the law.
Plan on the
board.
10th, but 17th is the backup. That's
That sounds good.
10th or the 17th,
can't.
either one of those, because it will help if I can offer them 2.
10th would be best, but
You all agree the 10th is the preferred? Okay. I will try that first. And see how many we can get on that date. I usually go by a majority of the members of the delegation. I always tell them that. Somebody invariably is scheduled to be in Central Europe during, because they like to get away like anybody does during their time away. So, okay. Thanks very much. I'll let you know.
Commissioners, you ready? Ready to be?
Yes.
Good morning, members of the county commission. My clerk, Mr. Holden, Brian Peak with the Riley County Police Department. Really happy to be here, especially inside the building. Now it's raining a little bit outside. Just to give some information to the commission as well as to the public. 12 things I'm just going to touch on very briefly, but obviously any questions that the commission or the clerk or Mr. Holden may have, or community, I can definitely answer them. The first is talking about what we're seeing as an increase in thefts from motor vehicles, our catalytic converters, different things that affect that the department is working on. We are cognizant of that. And we want to remind folks and to encourage folks to please lock your cars. And if you see something that's out of order, if you see people who are walking around vehicles, whether they're in parking lots or whether around neighborhoods, please call us and let us know that we can look into it. Also to talk about the incident that happened at the Sunset Zoo, the shooting. We released a we put out a press release talking about 3 arrests that we had, and that pretty much that what happened here, this was not a threat directed at the zoo, the community, or the school in any way, shape, or form. There were just it was a robbery that went bad in a less than ideal location. And again, we've made 3 arrests. There's an $80,000 bond, and we're just looking for 1 more individual. So we would encourage members of the public, if they have any other information, please come forward and give us a call. But we also made an arrest in the hit and run incident that happened in February 11th. Also moving forward to talking about the swatting incident that happened at the school and a lot of the anxiety that folks are feeling, not just in the city of Manhattan, but throughout the county. As I've gone through the town halls, we've had several conversations with some folks regarding this. And I think that the nation as a whole is on pins and needles. And this is obviously one of the highest priorities of the police department. So the incident that happened with swatting, someone called in to make a fake report that there was an incident that was going on at the school. Thanks to our dispatchers who were able to put 1 and 1 together and kind of picture that this didn't sound correct. We did not have an overwhelming response, which is what swatting calls normally try to do. There are obviously disruptions no matter how they happen, but law enforcement, we were able to check and then perform our due diligence as we responded to the scene. So we tried to minimize the trauma that everyone experienced through that entire incident. So this is something that the federal government is aware of, that was released regarding all. It didn't just happen here in Riley County in Manhattan, but it happened in several other locations throughout the state of Kansas. So we are working with federal partners to try to bring this to try to find out who did it. Want to also mention fake Patty's Day. My first experience with fake Patty's Day, there have been a lot of members in the community that expressed a significant amount of frustration with what they have to deal with. I will simply say that I heard them at various public forums, emails, conversations with the city of Manhattan, and articles within the newspaper. So this is something that I've seen, I've experienced, I'm aware of it, and we will continue to work with our partners, our city, county partners, and other law enforcement agencies to do everything that we possibly can to ensure the safety, especially, working with property for the citizens within our community regarding fake Patty's Day. I also wanted to mention that one of the upon coming on board and speaking with our county attorney, one of his highest priorities is human trafficking and then sex related crimes, and to ensure that we can try to continue to focus on it and look at being proactive on it. We received a grant, and we will be having training between the 1st and the 4th of May. This training talks about where it gives officers and investigators. It's also open to victim coordinators as well as prosecutorial offices throughout the state, actually, and we're marketing it throughout the entire country. But it's training on human and sex trafficking, proactive investigations, as well as training on the dark web. I have completed my town hall going around to each of the communities. And now I'm in the process of condensing all the feedback and the direction that I've gotten from folks and then incorporating that into the strategic plan. I also, again, wanted to ask the county about strategic goals. If there have been any other additional ones that you all wanted me to make sure that I added to our strategic plan for the department. Now as I try to settle down from the mass going around from point A to point B, I plan to fall into a routine where I'll be regularly attending meetings with each of the municipalities within the county. Project Guardian is another thing that I want to let the commission know about. Project Guardian was developed by the Riley County Police Department, and basically it's designed as an outreach tool with our community members, that if there's someone within the household that's suffering from, whether it's dementia or another medical issue or mental health related issue, autism, anything to that effect that would help first responders in understanding the situation prior to getting there. It's a great help, and it's designed as a de-escalation tool. So for example, if we know that there is a, like in my personal case, my grandmother was suffering from Alzheimer's disease, and to let the department know, hey, my grandmother's in the later stages of Alzheimer's. She typically wanders. The last few places we as a family found her were over at this area, over at that area. So it's designed for us to hold information to save critical time in instances where it's emergency, where fire, EMS, or law enforcement is needed at that particular address. We are working towards a communications accreditation. This one for our dispatch. So we are already CALIA certified, of course, in law enforcement. So we're working to try to get our dispatch accredited. There are 207 points that we'll have to meet, and I'm very, very confident. I know that we will meet those points as well. Talking about the Special Olympics polar plunge. We've, as a department, raised over, I think about $2,400 in total. Around 9,000 or 10,000 was raised for the Manhattan Polar Plunge. And this is something that obviously we always want to make sure we're part of the community with. The department has just launched its new website. It's more mobile friendly. I think it's easier to navigate for folks. There's so much information. And I think that it's been funneled in a way that's very easily accessible to members of the public to navigate the website, to find the information they want. And again, with our department, we always want to be transparent, and we want to put out as much information as we possibly can to continue to garner the trust of the community that we serve. And lastly, the 12th item is talking about the animal control discussion with the city. So I'm in the process of right now, we did have a meeting with the city last week, and I'm in the process right now. I asked them for several bits of information that will help us to figure out what logistics and what potential costs and some of the legal framework that may accompany such a potential move. So I just want to put the information together, provided, of course, to all the stakeholders, the county being a prime stakeholder, and then as well as what my opinion of such a move would be, and then what it would cost. So I just want to give that information as well as the foundation to the decisions that were made. I just need to have all the information before I can say, why. With all that being said, I am open, of course, to any questions that you all may have of me.
Would like to be part of that dialogue moving forward on fake Patty's Day.
Yes.
Okay, we will be having a meeting in Riley. Our county commission meeting will be in Riley on March 30th at 6 o'clock. We will attend. I don't know who we have on the schedule for sure, but even as just a guess.
Didn't we talk about having him
Yeah, but I don't know.
present on that?
What do we have on the 30th?
Last I knew, we did not have. Oh, yeah, he is on that.
Yeah.
Rick, you are on there at 6:50, just in case it's not on your calendar.
Yeah, 6:50 PM on March 30th.
Clancy Holman, 6:30. We start at 6, business meeting, 6:30, Clancy Holman, 6:50, Director Brian P. 7:05, Russell Stuckey, fire. Fighter and storm spotter recruitment, and then 7:20, Darcy Potteroff, Riley's in there.
And that's at the city hall in Raleigh. Okay, good, I'm glad we checked on that. Okay, great, anything?
Nope,
Larson?
thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you all very much. Have a great day.
Appreciate the meetings when you went out to all the cities, and then various places. It went over, well. I mean, what I've heard reaction, people were glad to get a chance to meet.
Thank you. It was a good learning opportunity for me. So I appreciate it.
I'll see you Monday.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got my tap dance and shoes on.
Oh, boy.
No, I'll really have them on for next month.
Next one, Julie Gibbs at 10:30.
But yeah, I didn't know, I think you marked down, like I said, April 20th, and I was gonna mention later, April 20th and 24th.
Yep. Wrote it.
And I'll be either, depending, I'll be in the airport and getting on a plane. I didn't.
Yeah, no.
I thought they were scheduled.
You deserve time away as well.
I didn't schedule plane trips, someone else did.
No.
It's one later in the day, but that's not how it works. So,
Nothing to feel bad about. You deserve time away as well.
going to San Francisco.
Julie.
Nephews out. Gives it to
Oh, that's cool.
you.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. You got a second?
See, and then on the other hands, when they were at school,
Mm,
used to come out of our house for dinner.
Okay.
oh, okay.
Sundays.
Sunday dinners.
Work with his. Bachelor's. Master's, somewhere, working with that doctor of physics. He can explain what he's doing, he tells what he's doing.
Yeah, right.
I told you, since he was 10 years old, he was.
Yeah.
Way over my head, on stuff, so he does something with computers on it one day.
Oh,
And
okay.
he's at my inability. So, but I want to tell you, it is coming.
Okay.
And within the next 30 days, we'll.
Well, they're
at least
making
have
a lot of
process
crazy
underway. What it
changes.
really requires.
Well, he said there's
Read
something
newspaper.
going on.
Okay.
He's having a meeting,
Read car.
huge meeting.
Okay.
All over.
Thank you.
So I'm sure.
Well, like, I know that my
Thank you.
daughter has.
Thanks for your patience.
And he was having, they won't let them go in the place that they're on home, like if she's out of town, she can't get on.
Oh, really?
And it's crazy, and like, she's really upset. Some people have iPads and travel or whatever, and they can't get on the
Oh, really?
networks because they're really limited to one station, which is really scary. So, California is cool. I like to visit there. Especially San Francisco, like northern part.
Yeah, I don't think.
And north of San Francisco. San Francisco's they're pretty chill. Take a raincoat.
Okay. Thank you. Keep forgetting St. Patrick's Day is tomorrow. I see the green.
Yeah.
Be hard not to see that.
No, we just decided to make it a green day.
Yeah.
I really did think it might be electrified or something with battery.
It does almost look like I said, I saw it hanging there.
Now, if you did have a bow tie and it was spinning, then I would know.
Right, yeah, I'll work on that.
Yeah.
What you should do is get like the cool leprechaun and the angry leprechaun and you do it on a shoulder thing.
Oh, goodness. Okay, Julie.
Yeah, we need to make a motion.
Oh.
We need to move that we recess as the Board of County Commission and reconvene as the Board of County Health.
Second.
It's a move and seconded to recess as the Board of County Commission and reconvene as the Board of Health Department. Board of County Health. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right. Good morning. Julie Gibbs with the Health Department here with another out-of-state travel request. This is for two of my WIC employees. One is our WIC supervisor, Kaylin Beth, and one of our dietitians, Lori Horton, to attend the annual NWA Education and Training Conference and Exhibits in San Diego in May. The cost is a little over $5,300, which is what they've estimated right now. I've included some text directly from their website to kind of give you an idea of what this is. They haven't been able to attend this since prior to the pandemic. During each breakout session, there are 4 tracks available. So sending 2, hopefully they can divide and conquer. They'll each go to something different. There are a few sessions that will involve the impact of the COVID-19 with flexibility waivers related to the pandemic, which is something WIC had in place during the pandemic. So therefore, we can use the ELC funds to pay for the entire cost of the conference and travel. Any questions on this?
San Diego, huh?
Yes.
Notice they
I'm a
never
little
had these
jealous.
conferences like in, Bismarck or, Duluth, Minnesota or someplace like that.
Right.
No, it's all good. Okay. And you said this is all going to be covered with ELC funding?
Yeah, that COVID funding, yeah.
All right. I'm kind of interested to see what they say post COVID on.
Yeah. Waivers, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll go and make a motion that the BOC approves travel for 2 WIC employees to attend the NWA annual conference in California in May.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded for the BOCC to approve travel for 2 WIC employees to attend the NWA annual conference in California in May. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Share sign, please. Thank you,
All
Julie.
right, thank you. Have a good weekend.
You too. Go Cats.
Yeah.
Next commissioner at 10:35, we have Blade Makes. Blade, how you doing? You scroll down there, it should be there.
Yeah, we can go that
So
route.
just keep scrolling down, it's attached there. Yes, whatever you prefer, and in your other presentation, attached there as well.
You know what, if I can, am I free to fire up another tab real quick?
Yeah, all right.
Let me try it that way.
No.
I keep saying stamps, but I keep getting shot down.
B.
Yeah, we can do that. We start doing e-signatures. We can really get all that set up.
Remember when your computer goes up?
I got a phone. I just pull it up off the phone. And I got a stylus pen on that, so it's actually like really actually signing. How'd your meeting go?
Good morning. Yeah, it went well.
Good.
We did get some FaceTime with Lieutenant Governor.
Good.
The day before the application was due and. We got everything turned in on time, so
Good deal.
fingers crossed, it's in someone else's hands now. So again, I appreciate the commission's time in helping us get that rushed through. So excited to be able to give you guys the proper briefing that you probably deserve before signing the letter of
Yeah.
support.
Do you need to make one motion here before we start? I need to make a motion that we recess as the Board of County Health and then reconvene as the Board of County Commission.
And I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to recess as the Board of County Health and reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners. All in favor? Aye.
So, yeah, again, Blade Mages here in Manhattan. And walking through kind of the overview for the Wareham Hall project. So I do have a tendency to get a little too excited about this. I will try to respect my time boundaries, and at any point, if you guys have questions along the way, please let me know. We'll kind of just take it a couple slides at a time here. Oh, yeah, sure. So just for all of us on the same page, when we talk about the Wareham, we're talking about, our organization is talking about the Wareham Opera House proper. So a lot of people think of Arrow, formerly Harry's, and the hotel or the building next to it. For our conversation today, we'll be discussing the Opera House itself. What a lot of people don't know is that was actually the first one on the block that direction. So kind of talk a little bit about the history of that space and what it's represented in the community. So in 1880, there was a timber structure built at 410 Points. It was an old circus tent, believe it or not, had a canvas roof, and that canvas roof lasted about a month before a Kansas wind ripped it clean off. So they went back, and it's funny reading those old newspaper articles talking about, you know, the shareholders met today to discuss a proper route for the Coliseum. People used to come in off the railroad. They'd get off at the depot. It'd be the vaudeville performers, magicians and singers and dancers and trained monkeys, all of the above. They would come down to the Coliseum and put on performances. In 1884, a gentleman named H.S. Moore purchased the building, tore down the timber frame, and put up a stone building that is about the same size of the footprint of the Wareham today. It wasn't quite as far back to the alley, but that same 50-foot wide building. And then in 1893, Harry Pratt Wareham purchased the building. He was 27 at the time. And a lot of people know HP as a guy who kind of started Manhattan's phone company and an ice company and the hotel. What most folks don't realize is his first real enterprise was the Opera House. He was a showman by trade. That was kind of, all accounts described him as kind of an eccentric guy, and it was very fitting that he kind of brought the community's first real live and thriving opera house to town. A couple of just significant clippings from the past, things that have happened on that very stage. 1909, Carrie Nation gave a prohibition presentation. I'm sure some bottles were smashed. In 1887, Susan B. Anthony spoke on women's rights. In 1897, this was kind of talking about just goofy stuff. Professional Sanders, whoever that was, and his famous dog and monkey circus performed on the stage. And then in 1904, John Philip Sousa actually performed at Wareham's Opera House. There's been several others. These were just some of the highlights, but it's been a very important place in our community for a long time.
Could have been Colonel Sanders before he became Colonel.
I think it's true. So the year Harry bought it, they added electricity. By 1900, it was January 1900. It screened its first picture show, which is about 10 years ahead of when cinema really became available. It was very ahead of its time. In 1908, it starts showing up in print as Wareham's Electric. It wasn't the theater anymore. It was called Wareham's Electric, and it was because the screen got a coating of iridium, metallic coating, that's where the term silver screen comes from. And so it had this vibrant screen, so they renamed it the Electric for a while. And eventually went back to becoming Wareham's Theater, but it was kind of fun. You started seeing it in print, had no idea. It's like, what is this Electric? And then put it all together. By 1910, they did a pretty major renovation. This is the year that the Barry's drugstore building right next to it was also built. This is when they started to say, okay, we're going to make the pivot from vaudeville to a place that shows, at the time, picture shows. By 1915, it was exclusively a movie house. And then they basically stopped doing vaudeville. And then by just before the 30s, they added sound for talkies, full-blown films. The version of the Wareham we all kind of know today with the big neon sign was in 1938. So before 38, this is kind of what the building used to look like. had one of those kind of more traditional wrought iron classic canopies, similar to what you see at the Harry's Aero building today, the hotel. And then after the remodel, this is in 1943. It's a little tough to see because it's kind of dark here, but the old ticket booth actually used to be dead center in the building. The ticket booth moved after the 51 flood. But I love this little line that used to be here, the showplace of Manhattan. And that tagline appeared in all of the old newspaper ads promoting films and stuff. So something in the renovation we'd love to see maybe brought back. So in 38, they did a major remodel. For the next 50 years, it was a revolving door of cinema operators. One of the longest standing was Commonwealth Theaters.
Yeah.
A lot of people kind of remember that name probably. The number of people that have told me, man, I saw Star Wars there. I was like, yeah, that's kind of everybody's anchor for their memories at the Wareham.
I saw Aliens there. That's where I saw that.
One of the last movies we think that showed was Top Gun, which
would have been 86.
Yeah. So yeah, closed in 86. In 88, Brent Bowman, Jim McCullough, and the Wareham family teamed up and did the renovation that we recognize it as today. They took out the seats and put in the cabaret style seating. And all of the kind of historical fabric of the space had actually been removed through various renovations before they were involved. So it used to have these really beautiful ornate corners and all that stuff. In the 38 remodel, they ripped all that out, and there's literally a write-up that's like, finally, we got rid of all that old stuff. So, things that would make the preservation world go crazy today. But sold to 2005 and to Darrell Hills, and then we closed on the building in the fall of last year in September. So we are Wareham Hall. This building's been called a lot of things in the past. It was the Coliseum, it was Moore's Opera House, it was Wareham's Opera House, it was the Electric. Moving forward, we're rebranding the organization and the building itself as Wareham Hall. We like the idea that this kind of implies multi-purpose, which we intended to remain being a flexible use space. And I think it makes a cool looking t-shirt. So the mission of our organization is to set the stage for community connection, inspiration, and growth through the arts. We're bigger than just a building. What we're trying to do is really about how do we grow the community? How do we grow our community's sense of place, quality of life? And really, to that end, the idea of our vision is how do we make Manhattan a dot on the map as a community that is sought after for performing arts, for cultural offerings, for entertainment offerings. We think that with additions like the Museum of Art and Light, things that the MAC does, things that we would be doing, we'd really, McCain, we'd really be building this ecosystem where, we kind of go from a one-off to a pretty wide offering. We've got a great board. There's 12 on our board today. They've been with us since we got the project started, and we officially incorporated back in March of last year. And kind of the general process. So March we formed, April through August, we went through a pretty extensive feasibility study, both understanding what would the market support as well as what will the building physically support. Throughout this process, we've engaged with over 1,000 people. Many of those through focus groups, many of those through just conversations with would-be collaborators, folks like the MAC, McCain, and then a pretty massive community survey that we put out this last fall. We started our capital campaign very quietly in Q4 of last year, and then through the last several months, we've been kind of finalizing the overall concept, both for the model, the program model, as well as kind of the architectural plans. So our program has 4 main parts. First and foremost, we're going to be our own presenting organization. So what that means is we find the latest and greatest, whether that's comedians or musicians or whatever, and we book them and bring them to town. This will be roughly 40 to 50% of our program. Could be everything from, latest country artists to a hip hop show to Yo-Yo Ma. And then on the flip side, we do want it to, again, be a working cinema. We think that there are a lot of important films that don't make it to Manhattan. If you look at the Best Picture nominees for the Oscars this year, several of those didn't play at AMC. We think that's an easy problem to solve. So Having a working theater and independent theater downtown also opens up all kinds of opportunities for those cult classics. Like I'd love to watch Dumb and Dumber on a big screen. I'd love to go watch Elf at Christmas time, or the old claymation Christmas films or things of that sort. You could do a lot in terms of community events based on different times of year. The next part of our model is really a stage for the community. So this is local musicians, open mic nights. We want to bring back free Saturday morning cartoons. Was a thing that old movie theaters used to do back in the 50s. And then, it'd be a great place to watch a K-State basketball tournament run. So things like watch parties. Third part is a very strong co-presenting series. So this is teaming with organizations like McCain, to have, Todd. I actually took this idea to Todd 2 or 3 years ago, and he said, "Man, I've been begging for this to happen for so long." He wants another place that he can program because he knows not every show belongs in an 1,800 person proscenium theater. He wants, some of these things need to be more intimate. So he's excited to do events under the McCain banner at the Wareham. Similar K-State Music Theater and Dance. This is a very woefully under-equipped school at the university. Their facilities are borderline unsafe. They have to rehearse in spaces with ceilings too low, so they have to wear earplugs. And I don't know if any of you are musicians, but it's hard to hear when you have earplugs in. So we imagine this being a space that the university's music theater and dance team or various ensembles and groups would be able to use to perform, as well as local theater, whether that be collaborations with Manhattan Arts Center or other people who want to do theater on their own. And then the last piece is a space for rentals. So nonprofit events, fundraisers, weddings, business meetings, you can kind of do a lot with the plans that you'll see that I'm going to walk you guys through. So again, you guys know how these processes work. These are lines on paper that are going to get pushed around hundreds of times as we move into the proper design. But what we're looking at is first floor. So Points Avenue is here on the left, stage kind of back over off to the right here. Main challenge with the Wareham today, you walk in and you kind of go through this tunnel and it's a little dark, it's a little gloomy. So we want to open that up quite a bit and let that space breathe, make it feel like a more welcoming lobby. If you've been in the Wareham recently, the first thing you'll notice is what was the bar has been replaced. But fear not, we replaced one bar with 2 bars, so don't worry. This becomes a small box office, and then on the flip side, in the actual auditorium, a space for tech, audio, video, lighting control, things of that sort. We also add elevator access to all 4 floors of the building, which is a much needed improvement. The main restrooms are in the basement. It's not accessible. That's a pretty major issue. And then stage generally stays the same, and we've explored a lot of different options for seating, but we've landed on retaining the 3 kind of, they call it cabaret style seating tiers. So we'll probably end up ripping that out, going back in with steel decking and concrete to make that much more robust. So if you get 500 or 600 people dancing around at a country show and they're jumping and moshing and doing all that, it's not going anywhere. But generally speaking, this half of the building kind of stays the same. Moving down into the basement, this is where you begin to see the first extension of the footprint. So the Wareham proper are the thick lines here. This is actually the basement of the adjacent building. So beneath Barry's drugstore, we want to we're very, very short on storage. So this would allow us some not very attractive spaces, just kind of some housekeeping things, rack rooms, service space, maybe some small offices, things of that sort. I think in the women's room, there are 3 stalls, and maybe in the men's, there's 4. That gets dramatically improved. There's something close to 24 or 28 fixtures here. So much better for volume. And then we're actually doing a bit of excavation to create a space for what we're calling a production bar. So this is meant for more of those standing room only concerts. If you've ever been to a show at a place like maybe the Uptown in Kansas City or the call which I'm drawing a blank, not the Orpheum. cotillion, these are more of those standing room kind of shows. A lot of times there's a bar that's just running the whole time. You don't have formal intermissions. So we imagine this being that bar. And then under the stage today is about 2,000 square feet of wasted space on an antiquated heating and air conditioning system. Believe it or not, Rich, have you been down there to talk to him?
It's amazing. It's a great exercise that Tom had to go to get
Yeah.
that going.
That fan is from 1950. I found the newspaper article that talks about them putting that fan in there. But
That HVAC system in there is amazing.
it's an engineering feat.
Yes.
But it is 100 years old at this point.
And
So-
explain how expensive it is to run.
Right, yeah, oh yeah, I mean, it's a couple $100 a day just to turn on the heat.
It's not in that area down there. You could sell tickets just to tour that area.
Oh, yeah.
It's current condition. It is
Yeah.
neat.
It
It is
is,
really
it's
neat.
pretty neat. And all of these basements are connected, so our boiler is actually under Harry's. You have to go 2 buildings over to turn the boiler on. And then you have to come back, you have to like close this door, move this piece of plywood, so you route air the right, it's insane,
And
so.
you saw the area to where the tunnels closed off. You
Yeah.
see over to this building over here.
Yeah, the backs of all those buildings had tunnels that crossed into here and they've since been blocked in, but I'm sure we could, get a jackhammer
Open
and
them up.
do some exploration stuff. So we imagine gutting all of that, putting in some modern rooftop units and creating this really awesome performer lounge, place for, it's right underneath the stage. There's no green room space today, so it solves a pretty major problem for us. So back to the first floor, you come in, you maybe check your coat, you find some friends. We're actually going to try to direct most people when you come in upstairs, because even this amount of space can get a little tight from a lobby standpoint. So hop on the elevator or take the stairs and land on what we're calling our second floor lobby. So this is it's really difficult to imagine in 2D space, but directly above the lobby, as you walk into the building, right above you is a little 2-bedroom apartment. And that 2-bedroom apartment is underneath the balcony. So it's in this little triangular shaped cavity. And it's about an 800 square foot little apartment. And it was actually Harry Wareham's old office. They had ran the telephone company out of there in the beginning. And so we imagined capturing that space, and with the art gallery moving down to Points, we're securing a long-term lease on the adjacent space to be able to combine those and create this really unique second floor experience that can be used not just when there's main performances, but maybe this is open for smaller performances. Dr. Goins wants to have a little jazz night. You could do it in this kind of secondary performance area. The other thing that this party wall gets us is the chance to open it up and create kind of some box seating type space. Then the very top is actually shows us capturing the former projector room at the very back of the building and flattening that out to create this really cool balcony at the very top of the building. This space here would actually be open to that bar below. And I've been in that apartment at night. It's really cool because when the neon sign is on, it lights up the building. And so we just think this would be a really neat space. So quickly getting through the overall look and feel, we imagine someday walking into something that looks a little more like this. It's bright, it's vibrant, it's welcoming. You've got sight lines left to right. Kind of pays nod to the 1938 version of the building that we imagine, maybe they would have been thinking about. Moving into the main hall, we see something much more modern, much more up to date. This kind of gives you a glimpse of what those balconies could look like. And then last but not least, that very top level secondary bar, if you will, we imagine being something like this. So for reference, Points Avenue is running parallel to this red runner here. Through the arches is the former art gallery space. So you can see how even if there weren't an event happening on the stage, this might be a place you want to go hang out and have a cocktail and see a singer-songwriter hanging out in the corner. So we do imagine that the space is activated nearly 80% of the time. There will be some kind of thing going on there. It doesn't always have to be a huge event, but there will be something. So to that point, Our program currently suggests we'll bring about 42,000 patrons to downtown districts in a year. That puts about $4.5 million into the regional economy and supports a total of 45 full-time jobs. You all live here, so you know what this is like. But to no surprise, we did a facility analysis of comparable spaces, and there's nothing that lives in this box. The two dots that do, this is the band shell, which is great, 2 months of the year. And this is All Faith Chapel, which has a litany of issues that it struggles with. So wide open space, nothing like it, and the town is desperately in need of it. So with that, the rest of this is kind of just some housekeeping stuff. So kind of wanted to make sure you guys knew what we were doing and be around for any questions or thoughts, or if you've got any clever ideas for funding, I'm all ears. The project, as we just walked through, is about a $19 million project. We do think there are some things we can work to pull that back a bit, but at the same time, we are trying to do this the right way, because if we can get it done, our model suggests we should break even most years, because we'll have these other revenue centers like these multiple bars and things of that sort. If we can just get it built, it should perpetuate. So with that, any questions or anything I can help address?
It's exciting.
Really hoping to pull it off, honestly, I really am, yeah. And I shared with him some extra funding sources that were brought to our attention during the rural revitalization conference we had, and we'll see if it all works out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell your friends,
Well,
spread the rumors. It's fun when people are saying, hey, we heard there's some crazy stuff happening. So yeah, and I'd encourage, if anybody individually wants to talk ideas, please don't hesitate to reach out. So
Neat and exciting.
thank you guys for the chance to.
yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate it. Next semester, we have Amanda Webb at 11 o'clock.
Hey, Vivian, do you have a minute? Okay.
Now you've done it.
Oh, no. This is.
I'll clean up my desk.
Hey, thank you.
Craig, everything okay at home? Everything okay at home?
Yeah, I mean, I can't, I'm not a contractor, but I don't know how, I don't know how it did not happen, that we had no roof damage, we had no structural damage. And it was a full size. Now, it broke off about 6 foot from the ground, it just fell in the house. And so we had everybody there yesterday, and Hummel took most of the branches off the roof so they could check the roof and stuff. And then they came today and cut it in 2 pieces and took a crane to haul it out, but I mean, I can't explain why we didn't. I mean, I thought we were gonna have something through the roof of the house, so we were extremely fortunate.
That's what, we had storm several years ago. My son was just out to leave school, and they limbs came off and went right through the roof. I was up there.
And so anyway,
I was up there at 11 o'clock in the morning.
that was probably an advantage we had, was it wasn't a limb, it was the entire tree. And clearly, once it broke off, it was rotting from the inside out.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so yeah, we were just fortunate.
Yeah.
My wife was in the house. She was a little, she still is a little traumatized. When Hummel came to swim, all their big machines, she couldn't leave because it blocked our driveway. So she ran across to the neighbors across the street. She said, I just couldn't be in the house, Yeah. That's.
Let me know your thoughts. Everything's crazy,
Yeah. So thanks for asking.
Clancy, how long's the next one?
Same.
20?
I think 20 is what I predicted. Wait a minute. Yeah, I think 20.
20 sounds good because you're cutting into my basketball time.
35.
I'll make it 40.
Yeah, why not? We'll bring Craig in.
I make a motion that.
I think 20 is
Overruled.
plenty. 20 is
Set up a
plenty.
limit.
5 minutes per session from here on out. No matter what it
Surprised
is.
you're going along with 20. I'll take it.
Amanda?
Good morning, Commissioners. Amanda Webb, Planning Director. I am here along with a few members of the working group, of course, Commissioner Foki, to give kind of a brief update on Keats. I'm not sure we talked about that too in depth lately. We held a community meeting out in Keats at the church last Thursday evening. We sent notices and we sent notification letters to, of course, everybody in the district, and then kind of a radius around the district. So we sent over 100 letters to different people. And then I know that Ian talked to a lot of media. So there's a lot of chatter about the meetings. A lot of people knew about it. And we had a pretty good turnout. The working group felt pretty good about the turnout that we did get. The meeting lasted a couple hours, lots of great questions, lots of great conversation from the attendees. So we really appreciated that. Basically, we wanted to provide an update as to what we've been up to. We hadn't been out to Keats to give them an update in their community since May of 2021. So it had been quite some time since we've been out there. So it was good to get back out in front of them just to make sure they know that we're still here. We're still working on things. We haven't forgotten them. And, you know, kind of let them know what we've been working on behind the scenes. And I know everybody was appreciative about that. We also wanted to kind of fill them in about the changes in cost, equipment, materials, all of that for the City of Manhattan connection option. As you all probably remember, that was our original intention, was to connect to the city. And that's kind of the path we were taking there. But with everything that's been going on these last couple of years, that option really just kind of became financially infeasible. So we wanted to give the residents an update on that, engage their support for a lagoon. So that is the kind of the new option we're looking at. Of course, we need property for that we can evaluate the soils and see if it can support a lagoon. But we wanted to get in front of the community again, just to again give them an update, but make sure that they were supportive of a lagoon. And we had the old fashioned raise your hand if you're in support or if you're not. And the overwhelming majority raised their hand in support of a lagoon. I think we only got one that raised their hand against it. So we definitely got the consensus and support we were looking for. So we were really pleased with that. And so again, now the next step is finding property. We kind of the pre-step for the property is we need to evaluate the soils. Just because somebody offers up their property, honestly, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be able to support a lagoon. But we need to be able to evaluate those soils and the physical characteristics of the site to see if we can make it work. So that's kind of where we are now. Sure. Oh, and everybody signed in that attended there, and many of them left their email addresses. And so we started a mailing list, if you will, a Keats District mailing list. And at least once a month, if not more, if more things are happening, I'll send out a message. Vivian and I will work together to send out messages just so they know, again, we're still here just to touch base with them, make sure, you know, they're comfortable and getting their questions answered and they're hearing from us. So as more things happen, of course, we'll give more frequent updates, but at least as we are, we'll be giving those kind of monthly updates for now. So. And as always, we just continue to seek out funding sources for the project and have a variety of different things we're kind of working on or waiting to hear from, honestly. So that's kind of our next step as well, is finding some funding. So any members of the working group want to add to anything? I want to keep it brief in case there's questions, we can have conversation. So
one point. Another part of the impetus for the public meeting was that in conversations with landowners about kind of inspecting or potentially purchasing a section of property, they wanted to know, well, is this what the residents want? Like, you're doing all this work, I would be kind of selling a piece of my land that I don't necessarily want to sell. Is this what the residents want? So that was another portion of the motivation behind kind of meeting in person and getting that final say from folks that, yes, we would love to pursue creating a lagoon to solve this problem.
I just want to bring to the commission's attention that a use we're gonna put the sign-in sheet to is that, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Amanda, but Amanda just sent out notices in a radius of the town, a radius of the actual district itself. Part of that was, there are property owners out there that have property, adjacent to Keats. And so Amanda's gonna analyze the sign-in sheet and see if we do have anybody who was at the meeting that night that owns property next to Keats. And then we can approach them for maybe, consideration to evaluate their property for lagoon. So we're gonna try to get some benefit, some additional benefit out of that sign-up sheet.
Did you want to add anything?
Well, it was a good meeting and, we had a full slate of county people there and the whole backside of it. It was all county people. I think probably the biggest, most questions and the most comments were that we haven't seen you, and, what have you been doing? And, a lot of that. But I think there was one gentleman there that wants to actually develop a community catalog. So, get to have like a community bulletin board kind of thing with an email. So we'll see if he gets that done. So, yeah, it was really good. I'm hoping we can get started maybe next week, calling some people and contacting some landowners. So it was been a lot of work, and it's been, I think that brochure that we put together is really a good one too. So I have lots of copies of it in my office. Anybody wants it? That's what. So, yeah, we'll just keep working on it.
And I think getting the publicity out about it, I had 3 people in the last week say, does Keats really have problems? I said, yeah, well, what, asking, and you kept us informed enough that I could talk semi-intelligently about it. So they go, wow, that is, but other people didn't realize what the problems were. Going, wow, that is bad, because everybody knows Keats, just, oh yeah, there's houses out there. What's the deal? Well, there's no room. And, I just interesting that I've never heard anybody outside of Keats mention it before, but now, like I say, 3 times in the last week, I've had people, what's the deal with Keats? What do they need to do? What are we working on? So.
Yeah, so we're getting people talking, which was also a little bit of the reason behind doing the radius and not just keeping it in the district. And of course, again, Vivian talked to a lot of
these are people from North County that aren't
so we
5 or
really
10 miles of Keats.
people to be aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
Even though it might not be their community, it's still their area. So it's kind of nice to hear that people are asking.
And I think everybody in the area loves to go to the park down there because it's a big drawing point. So, that's a lot of interest throughout the county, especially in North County.
Rather great schools that
Oh,
field trips.
Taking
Younger kids that take them down there for events in the spring and fall.
Park is great. So hopefully we can get something together soon.
Yeah.
Gotta think the publicity would help our effort in trying to find funds. Because at some point in time, we're gonna have to find funds for this.
Mhm.
Work on it.
Yeah, I know.
But we gotta wait on others.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, if we had a location, it would certainly help. with
Yeah, I
that.
agree.
If we said, okay, we got this spot, we got a commitment from the community, we need some money, help us. So that's a big thing.
That broader knowledge of the Keats community is a direct reflection of the additional expense the commissioner struggled with at one time, but getting a PIO position.
Mhm.
Able to get that information out there in a much better, broader method than those of us that aren't trained in it. We have our job to do. I think that's a direct reflection of that position value.
Yes.
And it is a big story, and hopefully the awareness will help. The landowner realize, okay, I'm not just experiencing the inconvenience of losing my land, I'm saving this town. And it's so like the playing up the reward side of like what this gesture will actually mean to the community, I think is very important.
Maybe it's been really good getting the word out and helping us with the brochure.
I would just say too, in line with all these comments, probably one of the most compelling things that was raised by a person who was attending the meeting is, my system's failing right now. What are we gonna do? I think that, because when there was a show of hands, if you weren't there, you wouldn't have noticed this, but not only was it almost unanimous, it isn't unanimous, but a huge majority, but it was immediate raising the hands. It wasn't looking around to see what other people wanted,
Right.
you know, which you sometimes will see at something like that. So some really good things about the meeting.
And Commissioner Folke can confirm this, is that immediate majority consensus after the 2 hours of discussion was a complete surprise to every staff.
Yeah.
It really was. Now, just a little tongue in cheek here about trying to get someone to give some land. I think we should keep in the back of our mind, maybe naming rights. You know, and so. No, I'm teasing.
Oh, wow.
Name the lagoon after someone, right?
I don't think the Creighton Cox Municipal Lagoon really makes sense.
Fox sewer pond.
There, now that's more.
Speaking of the property owners.
Oh, okay.
Puts all the documents.
That makes sense.
If anybody wants their name associated with something.
Well, a lot of people have bad kind of, thoughts about a lagoon, like, did it smell, what do we do? But, then we showed pictures of.
Yeah.
Of,
If they're run right, they don't.
the run.
Yeah, worked for a long, long time.
We didn't get a lot of questions about that, but I think it was covered very well. So. Good meeting.
Other questions?
I'll just keep plugging along. We've been working on this for, it's lucky year number 5 for me, so at least that, if not longer. So
There was a map, there was a district map there, and it was dated 2016. Yeah, for the sewer, or the district. The tax district.
And some things I was going through some old files today, and I found something at least from 2015, so.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're much older than that.
Yeah, I'm sure. Sure.
Right.
Hopefully we'll get there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next commissioner, you have Mr. Holman at 11:20.
At least 20. That's what I heard.
Yeah, it was. What was Waiting to see the results of that meeting. Giving us Huh?
They haven't.
Have we reached out to them?
Well, no,
Reach out to them.
yeah, I think next week. He said, well, he's.
Oh, yeah.
So. So. That one guy that was talking about incentives. Which didn't think about it. But I think, you pay for it.
Think community sounds better.
Yeah. I'm sure it's a nice meeting spot. For a small town.
Place, except for
Except for the
internet.
internet. I know where it is.
Wi-Fi connection.
Nothing, I couldn't even say.
Horrible
I couldn't use cell phone or there's no Wi-Fi. I sent out some text messages, didn't get. I mean, nothing.
You still got the other one, I assume, Rich. You didn't take it back to your office or something. Sure. So make sure. There's a bill introduced apparently today to make the appraiser's office elective.
Oh, again, that happens every year.
Yeah, it was out there in play earlier. I'll bet there's a third time this is going to come up
Every year.
right near the end. Probably tacked on, this time probably tacked on to something else.
It's always thrown out there. It never has gotten any serious legs before.
Yeah.
It's always kind of thrown out there as a threat, I think.
Mhm.
You never know. It gets wacky up there.
Stays,
Beyond wacky.
stays wacky.
Keep getting in. I appreciate emails from Mike Dodson about different election stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, Mike, here's one of the problem you guys are always trying to fix. That's not good. I put it in quotes. So just leave it so people understand the rules and they'll adjust. Instead of moving it back and forward.
You know, that's actually, that would be probably one of the most powerful messages if they could accept it. Don't try and fix everything.
He said, why is just adding 5 days on to advancement? Well, here, Mike, here's what's going on budgetarily. Here's what's going on with the R&R you guys have to do. Here's how many levies we have to certify. Here's how many budgets we have to certify. Oh, and plus we got walk-in and call-in traffic, wildlife and parks, homesteads, taxes. And, you know, commission meetings and. I sent him a rather lengthy email. He said he appreciated it. I don't understand.
Who was
So
that?
yeah, 5 days adding on if we did nothing but elections, yeah, doable.
Those little changes always sound
I
so
said, that doesn't apply
innocent.
to 101 of us that have all these other duties.
Mhm.
Now the state's going to require additional certification classes and elections through the Secretary of State's office on top of what we're already required.
You better make that 12:15. No, I'm kidding. See
No.
your reaction, I guess.
No.
Immediate.
I didn't think you were gonna go past.
He's overruled. It's a legal term.
I knew that.
Definitely see you coming today.
Yeah.
Don't get lost in the fog.
You'd be safe at night.
Yeah.
wear this when I go jogging at night.
There you go.
Yeah. My jogs are just from the TV and the kitchen. Yeah.
That's the best track available.
The tournament started off their ridiculous playing games, which,
Yeah,
but the first two of them went down last minute shots on both of them.
Did they?
they're talking about expansion again, and I'm like,
Oh, I know, I heard that.
That's what you need.
How many teams were they talking? The number? was-
93 or something like that. And I'm-
96 would be
Yeah,
the even.
okay.
Yeah, I was
But
like,
they-
you got.
They wanted to do something where they gave the first seed a bye, so,
Oh,
something weird, I don't know.
I think it's a horrible idea.
yeah, I mean, I'd say the 4 playing games are ridiculous. I think 64.
You sure this isn't a legislative proposal? That's what it sounds.
Could be.
Well, the incident like
Bad.
about as functions.
Yeah, it's true, that's very true, yeah.
High praise.
Yeah. All right, so before we dig any deeper here,
No, you are not.
I'll go ahead and move the county commission, including Chairwoman Foki, Vice Chairman Ford, and Commissioner McKinley recess into executive session on potential litigation for the purpose of consultation with Nancy Holman, Riley County Counselor, attorney for the commission, which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship, an exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act. The open meeting to resume in the commission chamber at, I thought we were just doing 5 minutes.
You
Oh,
can make it
man.
5 minutes. You're
You
making
can,
a
it's up to you. You're the one announcing the time.
11:40 a.m.
I'll second.
That's good to know.
Like you didn't know.
He said I get to announce the time.
Whoever makes the motion,
Okay, well, I'll remember that. for the future.
not on every motion, only if you're reading the motion, whoever it is.
Okay.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to recess into executive session until 11:40. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Commission,
Nope.
okay. Gotta wait for IT. Okay. I'll move the Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded that the board come out of executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Also, and move that the record reflect action shall be taken consistent with the consensus that was reached in executive session.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the consensus was reached during executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There are those.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Okay. Okay,
Anything else?
I've got a couple of things here. I'm not for sure if you guys received the email from Vicky James for the April 4th Food and Farm Council Summit.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm not gonna be able to attend. I do think it'd be good to have one of us available for that. We're gonna be going through ISO audits at work and I kind of need to be there for that one.
Understand those are a pain. I haven't been one. but-
They were the first couple of years and through COVID, but the last couple of years, we pretty much know.
Get out.
Yeah.
So,
What time was that? Was it? So it was morning to afternoon.
I believe that's correct. I've got the flyer here. Give me just a second, to pull it up here.
somewhere.
It's from 10:30 check-in till about 2.
I could do it.
Okay.
But if you want to do it, right?
You both can. I'm just saying I'm not gonna be able to, and I think it'd just be good considering we got a pretty vested interest in the process to have one or two of us there. I attended the one in 19 and it was actually pretty informative, so. If you need the link to register, I can send it back over to Rich and he can send it to you.
I got the note. I got the email.
Okay,
Yeah, she sent it all.
yeah, I thought so. Okay. And I'm not for sure if everybody's aware yet or not. They actually just went public with it yesterday, but the chamber did hire a new military relations manager, Christian Bishop. Yeah, she's going to be really good in this position. She's worked up at Fort Riley for a long time and really has those intimate
That's right. Did
connections.
she have a meeting? I'm surprised.
She wasn't this morning. They're doing some other
wasn't there.
things. Yeah.
Of course, she hadn't officially started yet.
Correct.
Like she
I
couldn't make
think
it.
in this new upcoming MRC meeting might be first technical event. So, yeah, a little bit of a transition to be made there. So
What's her name? The first.
Kristen,
Christian Bishop.
Mhm. She's will be the one replacing Janet Nichols and she'll hit the ground running. It'll be. Yeah, she's worked up in the first division protocol, child and family services and a couple other spots. I think she's been up there for almost 15 years. So that'll be good. That'll be good for the community. So. And as I mentioned in my comments earlier, I did have a discussion with MATC on Monday. They're going to be coming in and asking for some kind of form of dollars to help with funding of facilities and other things. As I explained to them, I told them you're free to do that. There's no guarantees.
Mhm.
I said I would question whether or not we're using dollars to basically help you pay for facilities when we've got facility needs of our own. But I said, if we can work out some other types of partnerships, and I mentioned that internship type of thing, dollar for dollar, that might be a better approach. So I'm just putting that out there in full disclosure and transparency, but some of the grants and some of the funding that's going to be available for the state, they have to have vested interest from everybody kind of involved. So it's just something to think about there.
I was looking on their website and trying to find out about their board meetings, if they were open to the public, and I couldn't find any meeting times, or I found the names of the board members, but I've heard that their meetings aren't open.
They're not open to the public.
Which if it's public funded, they'll have to do that,
They're not as well. I
aren't they? Don't think it's public funded.
They do.
Do they or not? I don't-
I don't know. I mean, they
Because I
get
was
state
going one
grants
that
and
was
stuff,
cool.
but it's not actual official funding, so I don't know how that works with that. They don't get like a mill levy of property tax
Yeah,
or
don't they do federal dollars?
federal doesn't
state
count
dollars?
necessarily for that, though.
Well, no.
And their board meetings are actually not necessarily for admin or operations either.
Hmm.
There may be a glitch
Yeah, I
to
looked
that,
at some of their
Yeah.
things and it was different.
but just wanted to put that out there. Like I said, I made no promises. I told them a couple of concerns I had, but if we have some partnerships to where you can. You know, the nursing program over there is taking back off again, which is good. That next wave of people kind of coming through are getting back into that, so that's good. Because it's a natural pool for, I think EMS and for the health department and. They're gonna be expanding a little bit their IT and networking development programs, so. You know, for instance, Corey's struggling trying to find a network administrator for a year and other IT positions. That may be a talent pool that we have, and maybe have to do a little grooming, a little training, but you have a pool of interested people to pull into, so there's a mutual benefit involved for everybody, so. Just throwing that out, so. Not a shock. And that's all I've got this morning.
Anything else?
Seeing none, then I'll go ahead and make a motion that we adjourn the March 16th meeting of the Riley County Commission.
I'll second.
Okay, it's moved in and seconded that we adjourn the March